Hi everyone, Kevin Cruz here, New York Times best-selling author of the book We, and this is your bonus video that goes with my new book, my collection of my favorite inspirational and motivational quotes from throughout history, from ancient philosophers to modern times. So thanks for buying my book, and I hope you enjoy this video bonus. We're going to talk about the 6 things successful people do to get and stay motivated. Now, I've been very lucky over the last 10, 20 years in that I've been able to become friends with and hang out with some very successful people in different fields. People like congressmen and senators, generals in the United States Marine Corps, entrepreneurs, self-made millionaires, and even professional athletes. And whenever I get to spend some time with these folks, I'm always picking their brain about, success tips and principles and, how they stay so focused and energized and motivated throughout their careers. And so with the release of this book, I thought it'd be a good chance to kind of consolidate the advice they've given me over the years and to share it out with all of you. So I have a horrible memory. So whenever I'm teaching something, I like to break it down and create an acronym or a model to help all of us to remember it. And so I've created S3E3, which represents the 3 things that start with the letter S to get and stay motivated, and then 3 things that are going to start with the letter E to help us to get and stay motivated. So the S3E3 model. And let me go through them very quickly. So the first S in this series stands for set goals. Now, you might be thinking, oh, I've heard that before. This is going to be nothing new. And I hope you have heard about goals before, and I hope you have some written goals. Knowing about something and doing it are 2 completely different things, of course. But the distinction here is that you probably were taught an acronym SMART goals. And the problem is, SMART goals are DUMB because they focus on creating goals that are realistic and achievable. Everyone I've spoken to who are really at the top of their field, they don't set obvious, realistic, achievable goals. They set gigantic goals. The business writer Jim Collins, he talks about businesses having a big, hairy, audacious goal. He calls it a BHAG. You should be doing the same thing for yourself. What is your big, hairy, audacious goal? And the trick here is to know how big to set it without making it so outlandish that you don't really think it's possible. Because the goal researchers, the psychologists that have done numerous studies on this, say yes, the bigger the goal, the bigger our motivation and our performance, right up until the point where we no longer think that that goal is even possible. At that point, our motivation drops off, falls off of a cliff, because we just think, that's ridiculous, it can never happen, I can never do it, I'm not motivated. So the lesson here is dream big, set big goals, and really push yourself to the limit. I can remember when I was in my early 20s, just starting out in business, my first big goal was I wanted to create a $1 million a year business and sell it by the age of 30. And so, I had just less than 10 years to make this happen. And at the time, $1 million, that goal, it was right on the edge. It was like 50-50. Like, I have no idea how I'm going to get to this goal, but I think it's possible. I don't know how, but I think it's possible. And, at the time, I came from a lower middle class background. I'd never met a millionaire or a super successful business person in my life. I was literally sleeping under my desk at the office. I had a 1-room office I was paying rent on, and I would sleep under my desk because I couldn't afford an apartment or anywhere else to live. And I would get up every morning at 6 o'clock, drive to the local YMCA to take a shower and to change my clothes, and then I'd drive back into the office. And so, I was really starting from nothing, and not just a lack of financial resources, but a lack of knowledge or contacts. And that business actually failed, and the next one did a little better but didn't work out. It took a 3rd one before I eventually built that $1 million plus business and did sell it when I was age 30. But the funny thing happened is, even though I achieved that goal that was so big in my mind, the man that bought my company in that same 5-year period where I went from 0 to $1 million, he had built a $35 million a year company. And his goal was to build a $100 million company in 10 years. Bigger goal, bigger results. And then shortly after that, I met another businessman. Regular guy, not some crazy inventor or Harvard MBA brilliant guy. Regular guy. He had built a $55 million a year company in the same 5 years that it took me to get to my $1 million. He said, Kevin, your goal was too small. When you set a big goal, you start to think about and take action on ways to get there. You didn't have to do that much to get to your million. You just did what you needed to do to get to the million. I needed to do crazy things and acquisitions and partnerships and other things to get to my 55 million. He's like, your actions will adjust to the size of your goal. So I hope you think about all of this and re-examine your goals, or take this opportunity to set some new goals in your life. But the challenge is, set them as big as possible. Now the next S in the 3S, 3E model is to share your goals. Share your goals out with the world. Now let me be really clear. I'm not into the new age stuff or the secret where you just, sort of declare your intent to the universe about what your goals are, and then the universe will give it to you. Whether it's the amount of money in my bank account or my body weight, I don't think the universe cares. I don't think the universe is looking to help me. But sharing your goals out works for practical reasons. Whatever it is. I write books, publish books, and often when I launch them, I have a goal to get 100 book reviews for that book. And what I find is, as people ask me, or I share out with my online community and my friends and colleagues that's one of my goals for the year, often they'll say, oh, I didn't know that mattered, or that was important to you. I read your book and I loved it. Sure, I'll go on Amazon and leave you a review. But they just never even knew that it was important to me. If you share out that you've got a certain, say, weight loss goal or fitness goal that you're trying to reach, maybe your friends are going to be more likely to, come over for the football game on Sunday, but they'll bring, carrots and celery and dip rather than the nacho cheese sauce. Maybe they're going to choose a healthier choice when you guys all go out to lunch at work, that, a place that might serve salads as opposed to a pizzeria or something. People, when you share your goals, you find allies and support group along the way. The third S in the 3S, 3E model is serve who? Who are you going to serve with your goal beyond yourself? Now, I sometimes call this the why behind the why. And we can get a certain amount of motivation working for our own efforts, but everyone I speak to who consistently stay motivated and inspired over the long haul, they're really working for a higher purpose, for a cause greater than themselves. And it could be something as simple as, if someone who has a goal to stop smoking, they want to quit smoking, great goal. You say, well, why do you want to quit smoking? Well, they're probably going to say, because I don't want to get cancer and die. That's a great answer, and that's the first why. You ask the why behind the why. Well, sounds silly. Why don't you want to? Why are you trying to prevent cancer? He said, well, I've got grandkids and I want to be around to see them grow up. Or, I know how hard it is to be a parent these days, and I want to help my children. I want to be around to help my children raise their children. It's the why behind the why. Even financial goals, when I had set what I thought was a very big, $1 million business goal, it really was never for me about, the cars and the houses and the material things. I mean, those are nice, but it was really about making sure that I was going to be able to afford any college that my kids would get into. In my 20s, I never had health insurance, and I always worried about what would happen if I was in an accident or got sick. And having a large financial goal meant that, God forbid, there was a health crisis in my family, I would be able to afford the best care possible. To me, it was more about financial freedom, not having to, be at the beck and call of a company or a boss that, maybe I didn't see eye to eye with. And I knew that pursuing my true interests would make me a better person and a happier person, and would help everyone around me. So think about, what's your big goal and who is it serving beyond you, the why behind the why. When you can anchor the meaning of your goal, the purpose, into something greater than yourself, you're going to get really endless inspiration. So those are the first three S's, finishing with serve. The next 3 E's, it starts with eat. Now, you might be saying, wait, what? Eat? What does this have to do with motivation and inspiration? It's intentional. The first 3 S's in this model, it has to do with what's going on up here to stay motivated. You're going to see the second set of E's all has to do with your body and with physiology, and that was a big lesson I learned from these high performers. So when I talk about eat, it's just what you put into your body, and I can't in this video go into a whole nutrition lesson, but I want to highlight a couple of points. Most of the time, we starve our bodies by skipping meals or going on diets, or we poison our bodies by, binge eating on junk food and other things that might make us feel good emotionally or even taste good for a couple of minutes, but then really hurts our body and our performance later. And I know I was on that trap when I was early on starting my companies. I mean, I would wake up and jump out of bed, motivated to hit the day. But I always felt time was so critical. I would just grab a coffee. I would skip breakfast thinking, I'm skipping some calories. It'll help me to, keep some weight off. I'm skipping breakfast. Then I'd work, and next thing I know, it'd be 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd be famished. I'd be tired. I'd be losing focus. So I'd rush out to the pizzeria and grab 2 or 3 slices of pepperoni and a Coke, down it, get back to work, and of course I'd want to be asleep a half hour or an hour after that crazy, binge pizza meal. But I would do this every day, and you power through the day with caffeine and energy drinks and things like that. All the eating, about everybody I know who eats, who performs well, they know that food is fuel. So they're very mindful about it. Instead of skipping meals, they're eating 5 or 6 small meals throughout the day to keep their metabolism high and to keep glucose pumping through the brain so they can stay focused and energized. They're eating more whole foods, less processed foods. They're eating more vegetables and fish, less meat, the things that you probably already know that you should be doing. The other thing about what you put in your body is hydration. You've got to drink a ton of water. Most of us go through our day slightly dehydrated, and we don't even know that. And just being down on fluids a little bit can really sap your energy down. And there's an old rule of thumb that you should drink 8 glasses of water a day. That's 8-ounce glasses of water, or 64 ounces of water a day. That's a good baseline. That's a good minimum. But many people are saying that you should actually be drinking more than that. The new rule of thumb is take your body weight, divide it by 2, and that's how many ounces a day you should be drinking. So 8 glasses is only 64 ounces. If I weigh 180 pounds, divide that by 2, that's 90. I should be drinking 90 ounces of water throughout the day. Don't guzzle it all down. You can hurt yourself that way. Just 90 ounces throughout the day for someone who weighs 180 pounds. So small, healthy meals throughout the day, stay hydrated, and physically you're going to be much more energized, which then enables you to feel motivated mentally. The next E out of the 3 E's is exercise. And now this is one where you're really probably ready to hit the stop button on this video. Don't think of it so much as exercise as just move. Sitting is the new smoking. We wake up and sit in our cars in our commute and sit at our desk throughout the day, and then sit back in our cars or the train to ride home, and then sit on the couch as we unwind at the end of the day. Lots of research saying the single best thing you can do for your long-term physical health and also your daily mental health is just move. Get up and move 20 to 30 minutes a day. We can all do this out of a 24-hour day. Get up half an hour early and go outside and walk around the block for 20 to 30 minutes. If you can't do that, take your half an hour out of your lunch hour and go outside and walk around the parking lot. Yeah, people think you're crazy and look at you, but next thing you know, they're going to want to join you. Get outside and move. Buy a cheap treadmill and put it in front of your TV. So if you're addicted to a certain show at night, sure, go ahead and watch that show, but do it while you're walking briskly on the treadmill. Move every day. Positive emotion comes from motion. So that's another anchoring daily habit. The third E is energy. Energize. It means managing your energy. So there's different sets of research out here, but ultimately it's talking about this. One, which you already know, get enough sleep. You know, there's a reason why if cops want to get somebody to confess to something, they just keep them up for 2 days straight. You know, I'd confess to any murder if I miss sleep for 48 hours. You know, you cannot feel good and energized and motivated and ready to conquer the world if you're physically exhausted. You've got to get your 8 hours, give or take, of sleep every night. Make sleep a priority for you. But what this is really about is cycling between periods of work and rest. Many people swear by something called the Pomodoro technique, which is you work for 25 minutes in a focused way and then take a 5-minute break. So, you know, if you're an office worker, put your nose down and work, shut off Facebook, mute the phone, close that office door, and focus on task for 25 minutes, then pop up, walk around, get away from the desk, say hi to people, get some water, take a 5-minute break, and then go in again. Now that's a little bit too fast for myself. You know, I liked reading just this year. There was one company that monitored all of their employees, their work habits, and then they ranked them. Who are the most productive employees on down? And the top 10% workers in their workforce weren't the ones putting in the most hours. The most productive people weren't the ones putting in the most hours. In fact, they were the ones taking the most breaks. Their top 10% was working on average 55 minutes and then taking a 15-minute break. Now, that's a lot of breaks throughout the day, and I'm not sure your boss, if you have a boss, is going to go for that. But this idea of a short burst of work, maybe an hour, and then getting up, moving around, and recharging, refocusing so you don't drain down. And of course, there's others who are saying that it's 90 minutes. You know, there's 30, there's 60, there's 90. The big point here is you need to energize yourself. We exert too much energy without recharging, and we push our way through it, often with caffeine or other substances. Instead, if we're well nourished and we're hydrated and getting enough sleep, we can have intense, motivated bursts of focus and activity, followed by a short break doing something else, something fun, something social, something standing up, and then boom, we're fully motivated and we get back to it. So, S3E3. 3 S's for what we need to do up here, 3 E's for what we do for our body. Set big, hairy, audacious goals and share them out with the world. You will find allies. And think about, why do you really want that goal? What's the why behind the why? Who is the why behind the why? What's the higher purpose here? And then eat healthy meals throughout the day to maintain your energy levels. Move at least half an hour a day, and manage your energy with sleep and frequent breaks. These are the 6 things that all the high performers have told me that they do. Again, whether it's military, business, athletes, they are doing these things on a consistent basis. So, this has been the bonus video to go along with my new book of inspirational quotes. If you didn't buy the book, maybe a friend of yours just sent you a link to this video, that's okay, but I would encourage you to go to Amazon.com to check the book out. I also want to say, if you'd like to send me an email or stay in touch, please go to kevincruz.com. I read every email and respond to almost all of them. And I hope that you will, before you go, if you're watching this on YouTube, click the subscribe button so you can be alerted when I've got new videos coming out. And I hope you'll leave a comment. Let me know what you do to stay motivated, inspired, and feeling fully alive every day. Thanks. I'll talk to you soon.